My talk title today is This Magic Moment. I actually thought about having Derek sing the old classic by that name, but when I read the lyrics, I realized, yeah, it was a little bit too romantic for this particular magic moment, but you can just go home and listen to it for yourself. But anyway, I want to continue our lessons in 2022 about transforming our lives. And last week, we kind of previewed the areas of life that we're going to be focusing on month to month to month this year. And if you didn't get a wheel of life and fill that out, there are copies out in the fellowship hall where you too can create your wheel of life with all the spokes. But we're going to be focusing on our inner spiritual and mental life, the world of play, creativity, emotions, our physical body, relationships, nature, work, home, finances, and community. So each month we're going to take a different topic. And we talked about the importance last week of entering this year with an open mind, with curiosity, with a sense of wonder, and a willingness to consider new possibilities. So today I want to give you another tool to keep in your toolbox this year as we go on this journey, and that is awareness of this moment. I want to start by asking you a question. So have you ever had the experience of what I call a road coma? You know, have you ever been driving down the interstate somewhere that you've been many, many times, and suddenly you sort of kind of lose yourself? And more importantly, you suddenly wake up and you're like, where am I? How did I get here? Where am I, right? Have you ever done that? You know, I remember driving in Atlanta. The interstate around the city is a big circle. I'm sure you've driven it many times to avoid Atlanta as much as possible, but I live there. But anyway, I was going around the circle. Many times I caught myself, oh crap, I don't even know what the next exit is. I have no idea how I got to this place. Where am I? You know, or even worse, a longer road trip and you don't even really know where you are, and you're like, what state am I in? I don't even know where this, because my thoughts have been a million miles away. And I can tell by the laughter, I'm not the only one driving around like that. And that's scary, y'all. That's scary. But the truth in that moment is that my body is in one place, but my consciousness or my mind is someplace altogether different than where my body is. And personally, I think that for many of us, that is a reality for quite a lot of our daily routines. You know, you'll be preparing dinner, but our minds are replaying a conversation we had earlier that day, or we might be sitting at our child's soccer match, but we're really daydreaming about an event that we need to go to next week. In fact, many of you might not even be hearing what I'm saying right now because you are already at brunch, right? So, not calling on you, but at any rate. But let's go back to that soccer match. A little analogy, okay? So you're sitting at your kid's soccer match, and just picture yourself there. You're sitting there, you're halfway watching what's going on. You might be aware of which uniformed child out there is yours, but really you're 100 miles away at that meeting. You know, you're planning what you've got to say, and you're elsewhere. No judgment. We've all been there in some way. But how much power do you have when you're sitting there on that sideline? How effective could you be in that instant? How likely would it be that an errantly kicked ball would just smack you upside the head because you didn't even see it coming, right? If someone asked you the score, would you even know? Or if your daughter asked you after the match, did you see that play? You know, you couldn't even really be effective in the conversation because you missed it. But how different is the experience of watching your child's match when you stay fully present? You notice like the little wince on her face when she kicks the ball, and you realize she might need some new soccer shoes, right? Or you catch the ball that flies into the bleachers, but you know the score, and you can point out the fabulousness of her play when she asks you about it. You notice how she's connecting with the other players. You notice the subtleties of it. Bottom line, you have more power to choose your responses and reactions by being present, because your thoughts and your words and your choices are informed by awareness and presence. And that's the truth of life on the soccer field and in the bleachers next to it, but it's also the truth of all of life. The more aware we can be of what's happening in the moment we are currently living in, the more effective we can be in that moment. Why? Because the power of choice lies in this current moment and in the current moment only. Every moment is the moment of creation, and it's the only moment of creation. And that soccer example logic can apply to any situation. You know, you may be just going through the motions, just kind of unconsciously in your job or in your relationships or with your family. You know, perhaps you continue to buy the same groceries off the same shelves year after year after year. You eat at the same restaurants with the same people over and over. You don't even really have to look at the menu. You know, often our routines are so ingrained that changing them doesn't even cross our minds. You're showing up physically, yeah, you're there, but your mind and your curiosity, your sense of wonder, that checked out a long time ago. Does that sound familiar? Shake your head if you're getting what I'm saying, right? Okay, it's such a common experience. We can't see our lives for what they are because they're just so familiar, right? Have you ever read the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho? He wrote this. It's a classic book, and he said, "When each day is the same as the next, it's because people fail to recognize the good things that happen in their lives every day that the sun rises." You know, that was the alchemist teaching the traveler in that book. And so many of us are living out our days in choices that we made so long ago. You know, we already subconsciously decided who we're going to be and how we're going to be in every situation that we're in. So often we choose in advance of this moment what our reactions are going to be. We've already prejudged the scenario and simply kind of sleepwalk our way through it, much like a road coma, except it's a life coma. You know, we send our body into the scene that's being played out around us, but our minds are on autopilot, just continuing to respond and react and choose from the same old habitual script that we've been living and running through our subconscious. You know, and speaking of scripts, this happens in acting too, right? You know, on the stage, the actors learn their lines so well that they know what their next line is going to be before the person says their line in the scene. And if they aren't careful and staying mindful, they can forget where they are in the script because their mind's already ahead of the moment, right? They'll kind of wake up and really remember kind of where they are in the scene. And if another actor flubs their line and says something completely unexpected, they can't respond with anything other than the line they already know. And then the audience either gets amused or confused, right? Am I right, Bill? It happens, right? It happens, right? We have an actor in the room, but I guess that would be a stage coma, right? So, you know, so often we are bored with our groove of life and we don't really show up very often with our full minds. We live out those patterns that we set up long ago. We don't even remember why we do the things that we do. It's just part of our routine. We fall into a belief that all the good stuff in life is somewhere different than we are, just out of reach from us. The choices that we made long ago will just have to play out and play out and play out. You know, someone out there is joyful and peaceful and prosperous and connected. But in my life, as I sleepwalk along, it's not there for me. So this year, I'm inviting you to wake up. I could throw in a good word in there too. Wake the blank up, right? Wake up in every aspect of your life. Ernest Holmes wrote about this in the Science of Mind textbook, and he wrote this, and he quotes a scripture. He quotes Romans 13:11. He said, "Now is the time to awake out of sleep." And he writes on, "The belief in a life apart from good is a dream from which we must awake if we're to taste the waters of reality with a capital R, which flow from the source of life. This awakening is a process of evolution, a little here and a little there, until the whole eye is opened and we see that life is neither separate from God nor different from good. Life is God and good is the only power there is or can be. To awaken oneself is to be healed. made prosperous, happy, and satisfied, to be made every whit whole. I love how he uses old words, whit, whole. To be complete as we were intended to be. God is a God of the living and not the dead. Let me repeat that last little bit. To awaken oneself, to wake up, is to be healed, made prosperous, happy, and satisfied, to be complete as we were intended to be. God is the God of the living. I love Ernest Holmes. That's why I teach, because I love him. He just puts it to the point, right? So remember last week when I said that we're a channel through which God flows, the stream of life. We're connected to a power that flows through us. Well, that flow is happening now. It's happening now. You are breathing now. At least I hope you are behind all these masks. I hope you're breathing now. Spirit's invitation is to participate in life for this now moment, this magic moment. And as we continue through our year of study, and you look at one area of your life at a time, each spoke on the wheel each month, it's important to recognize in that part of your life from which you came. You know, where have you been in that part of your life? What is your history in any given area? But I don't want us to dwell there. We might pause for a bit to heal and release and forgive, but the power is not back there. The power's not back there. You can't change one iota about the past. Your creative power is not behind you. And guess what? You can't really do anything about the future either. Your creative power is not somewhere down the road. Your creative power of choice lies in this magic moment right here, right now. And if we can bring our mind fully awake into this moment, if we can meet God in this moment, if we can make a new choice in this moment, we're in our power. We're in our power. And let's not waste this moment. We can't waste this one, because guess what? One of my favorite phrases is this too shall pass. This too shall pass. What shall pass? This. This shall pass. Whatever is right this minute, it shall pass. This might be good. This might be hard. This might be the most delicious moment of your life. This might be difficult and challenging and heart-wrenching. This too shall pass. We can't hold on to the good, and we can't push away the hard. We can simply trust that this too shall pass. We only have it for this moment. But while this is here in this moment, let's make the most of it. Let's be fully present for it. Let's lean in. Let's learn from it. Let's allow whatever this is to bring us to a new choice, perhaps a choice that transforms us. Let's invite Spirit to be at the center of this moment with us, in us, through us. And here's the most important thing about that. Every good thing, everything is present in this moment. No matter what is showing up or happening, love is available right in the middle of it. Peace just waits underneath all of it, under the surface of everything. It's just waiting for us to choose it. All the resources of the universe that have ever existed exist right here in this moment in one form or another, part of the whole at all times. And if we can fill this moment with this awareness of Spirit and align ourselves with it, I call that a pearl moment. Maybe you've heard this lesson from me before, but I want to repeat it. In any moment that I'm aware of spiritual goodness and I'm experiencing it, I call that a pearl moment. And my joy in life is found by stringing pearls. I can have a pearl moment in any aspect of my life, on any spoke of the wheel, at any time. But it takes great awareness to make a pearl, and it takes even greater awareness to string it, to claim it. I'm going to explain. So if you pick any area of your life, any of the spokes, one of the spokes on your wheel, it takes awareness to know what a pearl moment could be in that particular part of your life. What would it be? And then how do you claim that? So let's take a spoke on the wheel. We'll do the spoke of home, okay? So what is a pearl moment in your experience of home? So for me, that pearl moment at home would be a deep sense of peace in my home. You know, the house is clean and there may be laughter happening. You know, something smells good in the kitchen. My dogs are asleep in their places and music's playing definitely. You know, you get the picture. And awareness is what led me to co create that moment, put all those things in place, choose all those aspects. And awareness caused me to wake up when it was happening, look around, aware that I'm having a pearl moment, and put it on my mental strand of pearls in my head. Or let's look at the spoke of nature in your life, that piece. For me, a pearl moment in nature is when I'm absolutely lost in it. I'm lost in the experience of the beauty of it. I don't even know what time it is. You know, I'm aware of what I'm looking at. I'm aware of the smell in the air, the birds, whatever it is in nature that's in that moment. I'm aware of it. Feel the breeze. I look around and I string it as a pearl. Oh, this is a moment. This is a moment. And any moment can be a magic pearl moment. But first, you have to be present in the moment and recognize that it's possible to string a pearl here and choose whatever needs to be chosen to be in alignment with that moment, to release whatever needs to be released that's not in alignment with that moment, to clear any thoughts that distract us from that moment, to get out of our coma and to get curious. To get curious. Mary O'Malley, she wrote the book, What's in the Way is the Way, and she wrote this: curiosity is the art of bringing your attention and your immediate experience together. Think about that. Bring your attention and your immediate experience together. As your attention becomes engaged with what is happening right now, you will discover that there is a lot going on around you that you never notice. It is life, and when you are curious, you make direct contact with it. The key is to be fully present right here, right now. Make contact with life as many moments of every day that you can. Stay off autopilot. Stay off autopilot and fully experience your life so it doesn't just pass you by. If you aren't fully aware of this moment, are you actually really living it? Are you living it? If not, you're in one of those comas, right? And don't forget that your truest identity is an energy being connected to source. Always. You are not your thoughts. You are not your body, your magic suit. That's not who you are. You're not your emotions, your personality, any of it. You use those things to communicate with source, but they aren't who you really are. You are the observer behind all of that. You are the thing that is aware that you have a body, that you have a thought, that you have an emotion. That's who you really, really are. So when you know that's who you really are, you don't need to control what's going on around you. You just have to maintain that sense of wonder that we talked about last week that keeps you connected to possibility and opportunities for shifting things in this moment. Einstein famously said you can't solve a problem from the same consciousness that created it. You have to learn to see the world anew. So let's make a commitment to see the world anew this year. Moment by moment, stringing pearls as we go, but being fully present to the possibility of transforming whatever area of your life you happen to be experiencing right now. Mindfulness is about being very aware of your inner world, and we want to be very aware of our inner world. Why? Because our outer world is a product of the inner one. If everything is junked up inside, everything out here is going to be junked up. If everything's clear and balanced in here, our outer worlds will be balanced too. Eckhart Tolle, who famously writes about the power of now, said if you get the inside right, the outside will fall into place. Primary reality is within, secondary reality without. And the only way that we can work with our inside stuff is to stay in the present moment. Because if we're somewhere else in our minds, we're not here. You know, maybe you've heard that saying, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And that takes awareness on the inside. So becoming curious about life transforms our experience of it. When we stop trying to fix life and instead become just present for our own experiences, we can come into alignment with life with a capital L. This happens in the now. Eckhart Tolle again said, as soon as you honor the present moment, all unhappiness and struggle dissolve, and life begins to flow with joy and ease. When you act out the present moment awareness, whatever you do becomes imbued with a sense of quality, care, and love, even the most simple action. Over the next 11 months, we're going to be exploring living everyday wonder. There's probably an area or two, if you look at your wheel of life, where there's some challenges, right? You may be wanting some things to be different in one part or another. And the invitation is to disrupt that inclination to try and change or fix things. The invitation is to wonder, embrace curiosity, be inquisitive as we explore these different aspects. Everything is connected. So when we string a pearl in any area of our life, anywhere on the wheel, all the other areas are blessed as well. So here's your takeaway exercise. I invite you to set a timer on your phone or your watch or whatever thing you got dinging and going on, and set it to randomly go off throughout your day. And when it goes off, stop and pay attention in that moment. Bring yourself out of the coma you're in and bring yourself to this moment. And using that observer consciousness to kind of do a scan of your thoughts. What am I thinking about right now? What am I feeling right now? What is my body doing right now? Just simply notice what is present in this moment and stay aware. Simply notice. Bring your awareness to the present experience. Notice what has your attention. What are you curious about right around you? Is this a pearl moment? Can you string it? If not, what could I add to this moment that would make it that way? Or what do I need to release? So that's your invitation. And then remember this one last quote from Eckhart Tolle, the wisdom teacher, right? He said, accept. So when that little dinger goes off on your phone, accept and then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. Make it your friend and ally, not your enemy. And this will miraculously transform your whole life. Will you pray with me? Here is what I know. Here is what I know. In this right here, right now moment, what I know is that God is present. God is present as the very breath I breathe. And I know that's the truth for me, and I know it's the truth for everyone in this room and everyone listening. It is the truth. The present moment is filled with the breath of God, the love of God, the power of God. And when I align myself with that, when I remember that God is present in this moment, I have power. I have creative choice. And so I know for each one here that throughout this week ahead that we become aware. We become awake to the moment that is at hand. That every good thing that's in this moment is available to us in our awareness. That is what I know. I know that as we practice this, the road rises to meet us in our transformational journey. I'm so grateful for each one present. I'm grateful for this teaching. I'm grateful for the power of now. And affirm this with me by saying, and so it is, and so it is.